United Kingdom facts. The United Kingdom is located on the European continent and includes England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The country is a sovereign state whose capital is London. There are 63.1 million people in the whole of Great Britain, while there are 8.1 million people in London. Here are the best tidbits, information, and facts about Great Britain I was able to gather. England is derived from the Old English name Engleland, which means land of the Angles. England is not the same as the United Kingdom. Whilst Great Britain may be a relatively small country, its people have very definite views about their cultural identity. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is an island occupied by 4 distinct countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The United Kingdom was created in 1707 by the Act of Union between England, Wales, and Scotland. The name United Kingdom wasn't adopted until 1801 when Northern Ireland was brought into the Union. Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland all have their devolved governments and unique cultures. Wales even has its language. The Union flag or Union Jack is the flag of Great Britain. Its design is a combination of the English and Scottish flags and St. Patrick's flag, which represents Ireland. The dragon on the Welsh flag is the symbol of King Gwynedd. The Kingdom of Gwynedd was one of the successive rulers of the British Island after the fall of the Roman Empire. The full name of the country is, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. In the Middle Ages, the English very often drank beer for breakfast. The first telephone book was established in England in 1880. There were only 25 names in it. The first hot chocolate was served in England in the early 1600s. French was the dominant language of England from the year 1020 to the end of 1600. There are 3 different legal systems in the UK: English law, Northern Ireland law, and Scottish law. Great Britain, England, Scotland, and Wales, is fully surrounded by water, with the Atlantic Ocean to the west, the North Sea to the north, the English Channel to the south, and the Irish Sea to the west. The Irish Sea connects Great Britain with Northern Ireland. Courant was the first British newspaper. Its first ever copy was printed in 1621. The famous golf game was invented in Scotland and is today considered a national sport. Reliable sources say that the game was first invented in 1457. The University of Oxford is the oldest in the whole of Great Britain. Until 1877, lecturers at this university could not get married. The British drink more tea than most cultures in the world, even more than the Japanese. The exact number is unknown, but to give you an idea, then it can be up to 165 million cups of tea per day. According to Statista.com, a third of the population drinks 2 to 3 cups of tea daily. When you travel around the United Kingdom, then you can notice the accents changing about every 40 kilometers. To be honest, then a single British accent simply does not exist, but you can have an English, Scottish, Welsh or Irish accent, although they also have several subtypes. The English language is an amalgamation of German, Dutch, French, Danish, Latin, Greek, and Celtic languages. This is a result of all these cultures playing a significant part in English history, primarily due to invasions from mainland Europe. The United Kingdom has the shortest scheduled passenger flight in the world. The flight that connects Westray and Papa Westray Islands lasts only 1.5 minutes, the record for the fastest flight are 53 seconds. There are 28 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the UK, including the Bath, Canterbury, and Chester. At one point, the British Empire, the most extensive empire in world history, ruled about a quarter of the world's population and covered about a quarter of the total land area of the Earth. Great Britain, as the only country, decided to leave the community of the European Union. Such a step was dictated, above all, by a strong sense of state independence and reluctance to impose top-down laws by the European Union community. The Paddington bear is the most famous bear in Europe. It owes its name to the Paddington Station, which it came to after a long journey from Peru. Her Majesty's most famous secret agent was James Bond. Agent 007 liked luxury, gambling, and beautiful women. He is a fictional character, created by writer Ian Fleming. A wonderful caricature of the quirky Brit is Mr. Bean, played by Rowan Atkinson. Eccentric and straightforward, as well as skimpy, Mr. Bean won the hearts of audiences all over the world. Detective Sherlock Holmes was born around 1854. He was a brilliant detective solving many difficult puzzles. In addition to having a lot of knowledge, Sherlock was a great violin player. He was also a boxer. He was friends and lived with Dr. Watson. Like James Bond, he is a fictional character, created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, 1859 to 1930, and also known around the world. There is an ancient monster in Scotland. The legend of Nessie, the ancient monster that skulks in Loch Ness in Scotland, was reportedly first seen in 1933. Now the GB Mag team doesn't believe in Nessie, which is suggested to be from the lizard family surviving from the Jurassic period. There are no active volcanoes in the UK. There are only 15 national parks in the UK, but they cover 8% of British land. There are no mountains higher than 1,000 meters in England. Ben Nevis is the highest mountain point in the UK, 1,345 meters above sea level. Old English houses and castles are haunted. At night, you can hear shuffling and knocking, as well as footsteps. Ghosts also appear in historic hotels. In 1612, the most famous witch trial took place in England. Frightens, including in Ballindoloch Castle and in Yorkshire, especially in the small town of Whitby. A typical English breakfast consists of baked beans, bacon, fried eggs, fried mushrooms and tomatoes. In addition, the English drink tea with milk or orange juice. A typical British dinner is fish and chips with salad. The British, they like alcohol. They prefer to drink beer in various variants, especially in pubs while watching football matches. The most important monuments of London, the capital of Great Britain, include Tower Bridge, Big Ben, and Buckingham Palace. Through London the Thames flows, which is not one of the cleanest rivers. England is home to one of the oldest and most mysterious man-made structures on the planet, Stonehenge. Located near Salisbury in the county of Somerset, South England, the prehistoric landmark is more than 3,000 years old. The New England Historical Genealogy Society of Britain and the United States estimates that up to 50 million Americans may have their roots back in King Edward III. The United Kingdom has many urban legends and laws that some people still believe to be true. For example, going to jail when posting a letter with the monarch's head on the stamp upside down, or being afraid of dying in the Parliament House, because it's illegal. Sorry to disappoint you, but these are all legends. The bulldog is also sometimes used as a symbol of Great Britain, associated with Winston Churchill's rebellion against Nazi Germany. Margaret Thatcher became the first female Prime Minister in Britain in 1979. British ships transported over 5 million slaves from Africa to the West Indies. The Battle of Waterloo ended the Napoleonic Wars and marked the beginning of the Pax Britannica. Windsor Palace is the oldest royal residence in the world that is still being used by a monarch. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace was built in 1702 on the site of a notorious brothel. The United Kingdom was the first country to use postage stamps. Issued in May 1840, the first stamp was known as the penny black and featured the then monarch, Queen Victoria. England is now the only country in the world that doesn't have its name on its stamps, probably due to its history, and putting a postage stamp with the Queen's image upside down is considered an act of treason. About 25% of all women born in the United Kingdom in 1811 were named Mary. It has been the most popular name over the last 500 years. Kate Middleton is an 8th cousin to the first president of the U.S., George Washington, and a 13th cousin to an American World War II hero, General George S. Patton. London is one of the most ethnically diverse cities in the world. More than a third of the population is born outside of the United Kingdom and over 300 languages are spoken in London. The British Empire was the largest empire in the world. In 1922, when it was at its peak, about a quarter of the world's population and a quarter of Earth's total land area was under its rule. You probably won't find light switches inside a bathroom in the United Kingdom, because of the fear of electrocution. A love of baked beans. Brits, on average, eat more baked beans than any other country in Europe. An estimated 1.5 million cans of Heinz baked beans are sold every day in the United Kingdom. London Eye used to be the tallest Ferris wheel in the world until 2006, now it's the world's fourth tallest one. It is 135 meters tall and one rotation takes about 30 minutes. Queen Elizabeth ascended the throne in 1953 and in 2015 Her Excellence became the longest reigning queen in the world. You probably won't believe it, but chicken tikka masala is now one of the British national dishes. It's originally from India but shows beautifully how Britain absorbs external influences. London has had many different names in the past. During the Roman times, it was called Londinium, in the Anglo-Saxon period it was called Londonwich, and eventually, it was named London. Wherever the Queen or King is residing, a royal flag must wave at the top of the building. The United Kingdom has not written constitution. Tea is famously the most popular drink among the English. It's estimated that 165 million cups of tea are drunk in England every day, more than any other nation on the planet. Big Ben is usually used to refer to both the clock and the tower. But it isn't actually a clock, it is the nickname of the bell that's inside the clock. London has the largest library in the world. The towering British Library in King's Cross, London, has over 170 million items in its catalogue. The United Kingdom is home to the world's oldest royal residence. Windsor Castle is the oldest royal household on the plain, and dates back to the 11th century. It's no secret that the Brits love a drink, or three, but who would have thought laws had to be introduced to put a curb on it? Popularized by William of Orange in 1688 and providing an affordable alternative to brandy, gin became the go-to spirit with numerous distilleries opening around the country. By the early 1700s, this fragrant juniper drink had become so overconsumed, particularly by the poor, that it reached epidemic proportions. During this era, known as the gin craze, Parliament passed 5 acts, in 1729, 1736, 1743, 1747 and 1751, designed to control the consumption of gin. Roughly 1 billion people, 1/7 of the world, speak English. The language is perhaps England's greatest export and is the most universal language in the world. There are 426 escalators in the London Underground, and they cover a distance every week which equals 2 trips around the globe. The busiest airport in the UK is London Heathrow. In 2017, the airport registered over 78 million passengers. The UK railway system ranks 17th in terms of the size of the world's railway network. There are more English speakers in the US, India, Pakistan, Nigeria and the Philippines than in the UK. Selling alcohol to people under the age of 18 is illegal, but children under this age are allowed to drink alcohol at home. Elizabeth II was the world's largest landowner with 6.6 billion acres, which makes her the owner of 1/6 of the Earth's land surface. There are few trash bins in London because they have been used as bomb drop locations. The city is afraid of bomb threats, so they've removed lots of bins from the streets. There are over 500 pubs in the United Kingdom named the Red Lion. Royal weddings are public holidays. The United Kingdom loves a good ceremony, and it certainly makes a big deal out of royal weddings. The most recent major event took place in 2011 when Prince William married Catherine Middleton. The day of their wedding was declared a national holiday, which meant an extra day off work. Shakespeare added around 3,000 words to the English language. Suicide was once treated as a crime. During the late 19th century, if a person got caught trying to kill himself, he was jailed and punished by hanging. Football is one of the most popular games in Great Britain. There are over 100 football clubs across the country. Each year 488 Britons are injured from zippers. In 1814 a huge wave of beer flooded London. It was caused by a broken vat with beer brewing in it in a London brewery. The average Briton has 174,000 sixth-degree cousins. Enough to fill Wembley Stadium twice. The Queen was the only person in the United Kingdom who does not need a driving license in order to drive. The 93-year-old loves driving. You can never be more than 113 kilometers from the coastal waters. Cotton-in-the-Elms is a village that is the furthest place in the United Kingdom from the sea, exactly 113 kilometers from the coast. England's most popular dishes include spotted dick, bingers, and mash, and toad in a hole. Or in other words, a steamed sponge dessert, mashed potatoes and sausages, and pork sausages baked in dough. The typical food of United Kingdom is the roast beef and Yorkshire beef, but the Brits have voted the chicken tikka as their national dish. The chicken tikka is actually an Indian recipe. In the United Kingdom, if you reach your 100th birthday, you get a personalized card from the monarch. England's bloodiest war. The war that killed the highest proportion of English soldiers was the English Civil War during the 17th century. More than 85,000 died on the battlefields, and a further 100,000 died of their wounds. This amounted to 10% of all English adult males in the country. London has over 170 museums. The most famous and the largest of them all is the British Museum. Before the London Eye was built, there was another wheel. The Great Wheel, as it was known, was built in 1895 for the Empire of India exhibition. Unfortunately, the building was demolished in 1907. The smallest statue in London shows two mice fighting over a piece of cheese. Prince Charles and Prince William can never travel on the same airplane. In order to protect the royal lineage, British royal protocol says that two heirs should never fly on the same flight together. US eggs are illegal in the United Kingdom because they are washed. United Kingdom eggs are illegal in the US because they are not. Although not many people are aware of it, the custom of the bride wearing white is a tradition with a relatively short history. It was initiated by Queen Victoria, who, in marrying Prince Albert in 1840, chose a dress in shades of white, contrary to the prevailing fashion, as appropriate for this special occasion. Successive generations of brides followed its example, and white and its shades constantly reign in the salons of wedding dresses. England fought the shortest war in history. The Anglo-Zanzibar War is the shortest war in history. This war began at 9 a.m. on the 27th of August in 1896 when the 5 ships of the Royal Navy attacked Zanzibar's royal palace. The conflict lasted between 38 and 45 minutes until the white flag to surrender was raised. In this short war 500 people of Zanzibar died while only one British Marine was injured. The United Kingdom is linked with the European continental land through the Channel Tunnel, which was opened in 1994. England and France are only 34 kilometers away at a distance of 21 miles. This road is the second longest underground tunnel. The first is the Japanese Seacon Tunnel. It connects the city of Dover, England, and Calais, France. The pound sterling is 1,200 years old, which makes it the world's oldest currency still in use. London wasn't always the capital of the United Kingdom. Did you know London only became the capital in the 12th century? The first capital of England was Canterbury, then it was Winchester until the 11th century. Interestingly, during World War II, the government was moved to Birmingham and the city is referred to as the Second City because of its importance during the Industrial Revolution. The serial killer Jack the Ripper was scarily real. The fact that 5 London prostitutes were brutally murdered in 1888 is beyond dispute. However, the identity of the killer, who was never found, remains a mystery. The Queen or King does not rule England. The Queen has the power to appoint some high-ranking clergy and to grant some honors, such as knighthoods, in her annual birthday honors list. However, she has little say in governing the country. The elected Prime Minister has real power. The British Empire at its height was larger than Africa and was even comparable in size to the Moon. London's transport system is huge. London's transportation system is one of the oldest in the world, and also one of the largest. The 272 functioning stations of the London Underground boast over 450 escalators, the longest is at Angel in North London. There are another 40 stations that aren't even used anymore. That's before we even mention the 9,300 famous red buses and their 19,000 bus stops. One Welsh town has the longest name in Europe. Llanfairpwllgwyngyllgogerychwyrndrobwllllanziliagogagok is one of the longest town names in the world, but don't worry, most people choose to shorten it to the more manageable Llanfairpw. The United Kingdom is made up of a lot of islands. Great Britain and Ireland are the two main islands that make up the British Irish Isles. However, there are many, many more. Some estimates put the number at around 6,000. London Eye used to be the tallest Ferris wheel in the world until 2006, now it's the world's fourth tallest one. It is 135 meters tall and one rotation takes about 30 minutes. Cheese rollings is a sport. Indeed, once a year, competitors compete in a cheese rolling competition at Cooper's Hill in Gloucestershire, where they chase a 7 pounds, 3.2 kilograms, wheel of double Gloucester cheese down a steep hill.